Ուրեմն ինչպես որ ընդհանրապես կնենք, ես որոշ դեղեցություն եւ զեկուցում բիդամ այսօր հայտարարի կորձնեության մասին եւ այդ զեկուցումն յետք պիտի շարունակենք հյուրիմը հետ հյուրահատուկ հյուրիմը հետ որուն հետ պիտի խոսենք որոշ կորձնեության մասին, որը շատ հետաքրքրական է եւ որ պիտի ներկայացնե մեր երիտասարդության աշխուժությունը եւ իր կորձը։ Ուրեմն առաջին հերթին պետք է նշվի, որ այս տարի, ինչպես որ գբադահի ընդհանրապես ամեն 2 կամ 3 տարին ամեն 2 կամ 4 տարին մեկ ընտրություններ տեղի պիտի ունենան եւ եկող շաբաթ կալ 3 շաբթի օրը հունիս 5-ին տեղի պիտի ունենա Կալիֆոռնիայի primary ընտրությունները եւ այդ ընտրություններու ընթացքին ունենք զանազան տեխնոլոգիաներ, որոնք պիտի մասնակցին եւ հայտարարի հանձնախումբի արևմտյան շրջանը որոշ խորհուրդ ունի այդ ընտրություններուն վերաբերյալ եւ այդ խորհուրդները, այդ աջակցությունները, որոնք մենք պիտի ներկայացնենք այսօր պիտի հայտարարեմ սկսյալ մեր Ամերիկայի սենատով ձեռագույդի տեխնոլոգիաներն, որոնք կգտնվին Կալիֆոռնիա մեջ, առաջին հերթին ունենք մեր ձեռագույդի անդամ Դայան Ֆայնստայնը, որ երկար ժամանակվա մեր ձեռագույդի անդամներն եղած է եւ մեծ ընկեր եղած է հայ համայնքին Կալիֆոռնիա մեջ եւ ադի հայտարարի հանձնախումբի արևմտյան շրջանի առաջին աջակցություններն մեկն է անցնելով մեր կոնգրեսականներուն մեր խորհրդարանի անդամներուն պիտի սկսեմ Ջո Բաքայով Ջո Բաքան որ կներկայացնե 35-րդ շրջանը եւ նորեն ինչպես որ ամենը որոնց անունը պիտամ այս երեգո երկար ժամանակվա ընկեր եղած է մեր համայնքին եւ մեր աջակցությունը գուտանք իրեն շարունակելով Grace Napolitano-ի հետ ով կներկայացնի 32-րդ դարածքը Grace Napolitano-ն ստացած է հայտարարի արևմտյան շրջանի աջակցությունը եւ շարունակելով ջուրիչուն որ կներկայացնի Pasadena-ի մեջ շրջաներեն ուր կգտնվի շատ մեծ հայ համայնք շատ աշխուժ հայ համայնք գստանա հայտարարի արևմտյան շրջանի աջակցությունը նաև ունենք Adam Schiffer ով որուն հետ շատերը արդեն շատ մդերմորեն ծանոթ եք Adam Schiffer որուն մենք պիտի քիչ վերջ լսենք ինքնա գստանա մեզ մե արևմտյան շրջանեն աջակցություն եւ ունենք նաև հայ տեխնազու ով կգտնվի Նևադա նահանգին մեջ որոնց ընտրությունները տեղի կունենան հունիս 12-ին primary ընտրությունները եւ այդ տեխնազուն գլա Danny Tarkanian-ը ով իր հորը շատ ջանցված հայրին որդին է Danny Tarkanian-ը ինքը տեխնազու է Նևադայի շրջաններն մեկուն եւ աջակցությունը կստանա արևմտյան Ամերիկայի հայտարարի հանձնախումբին անցնելով մեր նահանգի, այսինքն Կալիֆոռնիայի State Assembly տեխնոլոգիաներուն որոշ աջակցություններ պետք է հայտարարվին սկսյալ Tom Calderon-ը կստանա ունենք Chris Holden-ը ով կներկայացնի ով գուզե ներկայացնել Pasadena-ի շրջանները եւ ունենք նաեւ շատ ուրախալի առիթ ունենք 3 հայ տեխնազու որոնք դրածն իրենց տեխնազությունը այս ընտրության համար սկսյալ Քաչո Աչաջանով ով վերընտրության գնա San Luis Obispo շրջաններուն եւ նաեւ Ani Nazarian-ը ով գտնվի Valley շրջաններուն եւ վերջավորության ունենք Greg Krikorian-ը ով ներկայացած է Glendale-ի school board-ը ինքը գստանա արևմտյան շրջանի աջակցությունը որ ներկայացնե Կալիֆոռնիայի 40-րդ դարածքը։ Ինչպես որ արդեն ասի սիրելի հայրենագիտներ, շատ ուրախալի է, որ ունենք այս տեխնազուները, բայց իսկապես ուրախալի է, որ ունենք հայ տեխնազուներ, ամերիկա հայ տեխնազուներ, որը սկսած են մասնակցել ամերիկյան քաղաքական կյանքին որպես ներկայացուցիչներ եւ որպես տեխնազուներ, որ ներկայացուցիչ դառնան ոչ միայն դուրսեն աշխատելով, այլ մտնալով այս համագարքին մեջ, որ հզորացնենք մեր համայնքը։ Ուրեմն ծանոթություններն հետո կվերադառնանք, ինչպես որ ասի շատ հյուրահատուկ հյուրով։ Կվերադառնանք սիրելի հայրենագիտներ, եթե նոր կմիանաք, գուզեի ասել, որ իհարկե ես Մանուկ Սեյրադարյանը չեմ, ես Վիլյամ Բայրամյանն եմ, որուն հետ կմիանաք յուրաքանչյուր հինգշաբթի Արևմտյան շրջանի հայտարարի հասնախումբի կողմէ, Մանուկ Սեյրադարյանը դժբախտաբար հիվանդ է այսօր եւ չի գտնա միանալ մեզի, մենք իրեն առողջություն կմաղթենք, սակայն ինչպես որ ես խոստացա, հիմա կմիանանք մեր շատ յուրահատուկ հյուրիմը հետ, Ani Nazarian-ը, ով երիտասարդ հայուհի մնե եւ մեր զրույցը պիտի ընթանա անգլերենով, ուրեմն շարունակենք բարի երեկո. Welcome, Ani Nazarian. How are you?
Great. It's great to be here.
Very nice to have you. Very nice to have you. Ani, I wanted to talk a little bit about something that you did recently. I heard that there was a very successful event that was planned in Glendale, and you were actually an ANCA Glendale intern, if I'm not mistaken. So if you could talk a little bit about your experience with the ANCA Glendale chapter, your internship, and also what it is that you had planned for the ANCA of Glendale.
Well, I did my ANCA Glendale internship my sophomore to junior year, and that was the start of my involvement in the community. I think I really grew from the experience. After that, I've been interning in several other places, and last night, the successful event was I actually partnered up with the Der Parsegian Law Group and the Document Preparation Solutions to host this Teenagers and the Law Community Forum, which was open to the community for free. And the ANCA Glendale chapter actually had sponsored this event, so it was nice to get something back from them. We had a good turnout. It was about 35, 40 teenagers and parents, and we've had a very nice feedback from the event.
Now, you said you did your internship program between your sophomore and your junior years.
Yes.
What grade are you in now in high school?
I'm actually a senior at Clark Magnet High School right now.
That's where I graduated from.
Right.
Yeah, right. That's where I graduated from, first graduating class. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Coming up on your graduation. So
Very soon.
I know generally it's not acceptable practice to be asking young ladies their age, but how old are you?
I am 18 years old.
If you don't mind saying so. So you're 18 years old, and I just want everybody to know, everybody who's watching, I want them to know that Ani is 18 years old, okay? 18 years old, and Ani, just to be sure, what you said earlier is that you, as an 18-year-old high school student, a senior at Clark Magnet High School, organized an event for teenagers having to do with teaching them about the law. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how is it that an 18-year-old, how is it that somebody who's so young, somebody who's still in high school is able to organize an event like that and is able to be successful in organizing that event? What do you think it was that helped you do that?
What inspired me to do the event was that I noticed a lot of kids are having trouble with legal issues, and they had really no idea what they were talking about. And I thought that it would be a perfect idea for them to attend something interesting where an attorney would talk about curfew or confrontations with police and whatnot. And it was it was nice.
Okay, and who was it that really helped you with the event? I mean, did you primarily plan it by yourself? You said there was a little bit of help from the ANCA of Glendale, obviously, and a law firm who also participated, right?
It was originally held by the ANCA Glendale, I think, in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. And I wanted to rehost the event and do it and open it up to more teenagers because I thought that it would be a perfect event for teenagers to attend.
And so you essentially took it upon yourself, and you saw that the ANC of Glendale had done something and it had been successful in the past, and you wanted to do it yourself.
Yes.
Right? I mean, again, I really need to emphasize this because we talk about it on this show all the time. I talk about it with Manu almost on a weekly basis. The number of people who are involved in what we do is less important than the people who are actually committed, who are dedicated, who are willing to work. And Ani is a perfect example of that. The fact that she's an 18-year-old high school student who's still in high school, who obviously probably has a lot of other responsibilities. I believe you also have some other responsibilities at school.
Yes.
What is that?
Well, I am going to present my senior project this Saturday. I've been busy with senior projects and whatnot, and I use this event as my senior project.
And so you also are involved in a club.
I am the Armenian club president at Clark.
So you're also the Armenian club president. So being a senior in high school, preparing for college, having a senior project, and being the president of her Armenian club at high school, Ani undertook this wonderful project outside of school, extracurricular, so that she can help her fellow students understand the law, get to know the law, and get some clarifications on some of the things that they probably have a lot of questions about. Now, this is, again, one of the things that we talk about on a weekly basis. The fact that the quality of the people is pretty much as important as the people who, or the number of people who are involved. And Ani is a perfect example of a person who's dedicated to the cause, and not only by doing an internship. She did the internship, which is wonderful, but she took that internship, she took the experience of the internship, and she parlayed it into something that was actually useful for the community. And it's just so invigorating and so exciting to see a young person like Ani who is taking it upon herself. And I want everybody who's watching to look at this and see this as a source of real encouragement, and look at Ani and say, you know, she's able to do it, right? She's able to do it. She's putting her mind to it, and she's going out there and doing whatever she cares about, and that should light a fire in all of us to go out there and do the things that we believe in, whether it's politics, whether it's organizing these sorts of events, whether it's art, whether it's in science, whatever it may be. And I'm sure that you have a lot of classmates who are likewise involved in some other projects. I mean, is there anything else that did you have other classmates from your school who showed up to the Teenagers in the Law event last night?
I had a lot of my classmates show up for support. They actually attended the event not knowing that they would be so interested in it afterwards. After the event, I was approached and they told me how much they loved it, and they got a lot of questions answered as well. So it was really awesome. Okay.
Thank you very much. I mean, I'm so happy to hear about that. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the other things that you've been doing at school and outside of school. So thank you very much for joining us. We will be right back after these commercials. Սիրելի հայրենագիտներ, մնացեք մեզի հետ, շուտով կվերադառնանք։ Բարի երեկո, սիրելի հայրենագիտներ. Good evening. I am William Bayramian. I am the Executive Director of the ANCA Western Region. Generally, we meet with Manu Nazarian. Unfortunately, he's not able to join us today. And I have to tell you that I really appreciate the work that he does, especially being in his seat right now. And he will be back and joining you all as soon as he's better. And now we're having a discussion with Ani Nazarian, who is a senior at Clark Magnet High School, a former ANCA Glendale intern, and she was just telling us about a successful event that they had yesterday called Teenagers in the Law at the Glendale Youth Center, where they had a lawyer, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
A lawyer who was talking with the audience about legal issues that might concern teenagers. Now, moving on a little bit from that, the ANCA Western Region has initiated a project called High Votes recently, which was meant to encourage our Armenian American community members and all community members in reality to register to vote, which is one of the main cornerstones of American democracy, of democracy in general, and taking that right and engaging in the civic process. And Ani saw that High Votes project and decided that she was going to do something with it. Ani, can you tell us a little bit about what it is that you decided to do?
Well, in order to graduate at Clark, we have a senior project, and I used Get Out the Vote, High Votes thing to register my senior class to vote. We had a good number of voter registration forms passed out, and I think a lot of people were very willing to register to vote because it was right out there. You know, a lot of the students don't want to do it because they just don't feel like it, or they think their vote doesn't count. And having their peers register to vote, I think, really encourages them to do it as well.
Mm-hmm. So you're a young individual. You just turned 18, or you must have just recently turned 18.
Yes.
And you just got that right to vote. Mm-hmm. What is it that inspired you to register to vote, and what is it that inspired you to get your peers to register to vote? I mean, that's something that's relatively rare. I mean, I work in politics, so I have an idea of the resistance sometimes among the youth and the population in general sometimes, where people don't want to register to vote.
Right.
But especially in the youth. So being a young person who has just gotten that right, what is it that inspired you, and what is it that inspired you to get other people to register?
Well, I think the beauty of America is that you get to voice your opinion in the government, and being as we have all these Armenian issues, I thought it was really important to get people to register and register myself. You know, I've seen a lot of students that aren't willing to register and aren't willing to do it. So that's what really inspired me, because if you give it to them, they'll do it. But if you tell them to go register to vote by themselves and do it on their own, they're not as willing. So, yeah.
So let's say in a hypothetical situation, right? You have a voter registration form in your hand, right? And you walk up to one of your friends who's not registered to vote, and you walk up to him and say, you know, Armen, I'd like for you to register to vote. And he says, I don't want to. What's usually the reason that they give you as to why they don't want to register to vote? What do you hear most often?
They usually don't want to register to vote because they think their vote doesn't make a difference, which just the common...
What do you tell them?
Well, personally, one vote doesn't make a difference, but if it's all Armenians together, or the whole community together, that does make a difference. So everyone needs to get out together and do it and register to vote and vote, actually.
I don't know if the person who lost by one vote in an election would agree with you that one vote doesn't make a difference, but
exactly.
I see what you're saying. So what, if I can kind of extrapolate from what it is, from what you are saying, that as a community, the more people we have registered to vote, the stronger our voice is going to be. Is that something that resonates with you, that kind of makes sense to you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Is that how do you feel? Have you tried registering voters outside of your peers, as in your family or people in the community generally? Is that something that you've tried to do?
I've registered a few of my family members. You know, they were more than willing to. As far as going out into the community, I have done at some events, but it hasn't happened as often. But I would definitely like to do it.
Thank you very much, Ani. Again, very impressive, Something that you undertook. I'm so happy that Ani joined us here today, because she not only talked about this one event that she organized, which was a humongous event and undertaking for such a young person, but she's talking about making it her senior project, making it one of her goals in high school to register people to vote. I mean, having young people like this who are in our schools, who are in our community, who are engaged and active should be heartening for everybody. Everyone should look at this as an example of being active in the community and being active according to your capabilities, but going out there and doing something. Ani's got a number of beliefs that she has about what needs to be done, and she's going out there and doing it, and it's really, really wonderful to see. Thank you very much again, Ani. I really appreciate you joining us. I'm so happy that you were here, and I look forward to a discussion in the near future. Good luck in college. I know you're going to college, so good luck in college. And I would like to end by saying that earlier this week there was a very important interview that was done with Congressman Adam Schiff, whose name we gave earlier because we are endorsing him as the ANCA Western Region. But Congressman Adam Schiff is or had an interview with the editor-in-chief of Aspare's daily newspaper, the English edition, Ara Khachadurian, and the subject of that interview, for the most part, was about the over doubling in aid of American aid to Artsakh. And as many of you know, Artsakh is a region in the world that receives aid from the United States government to promote democracy, to allow for economic development in that region, in Artsakh, and it's oftentimes because of the work that the ANCA does to secure that aid. And Adam Schiff, Congressman Adam Schiff, has been instrumental, really instrumental over the years in making sure that that aid gets allocated. The ANCA continues to work with our friends in Congress to ensure that not only is that aid allocated, but that aid is actually spent by the authorities who are responsible for spending it, and you're going to be able to hear a little bit more about that. Again, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Շատ շնորհակալ եմ սիրելի հայրենագիտներ, որ մեզի հետ միացաք եւ շուտով կվերաթարնանք, բայց այսօրվա համար բարի գիշեր։